So we've talked about why you want to use relational databases to manage your data over flat files, but I'd like to show you a couple of reasons why FileMaker is such a great application for developing those relational databases. First of all, I'll just mention a couple of things. FileMaker not only stores the data, but it also allows the presentation layer. So it's what are referred to as the data layer and the presentation layer all in one product. Not only that, but you also get the tools for developing and managing both the data layer and the presentation layer inside the same product that runs it. In addition, you can then share all that information using that same product. So FileMaker Pro, all on its own, forget the rest of the platform, is an extremely powerful relational database tool. Now in FileMaker, we like to call finished databases apps or custom apps or even solutions. And a FileMaker custom app is made up of one or more files that resolve business issues and improve data management. Well-designed custom apps are customized to meet the specific needs of a business, which can help employees do their jobs more quickly and easily, and reduce operating costs and even enhance customer satisfaction. This goes beyond just simply saving and storing data. FileMaker manages the data storage, interface, solution logic, reporting, integration, security, deployment, all in a single file and all in a single product, which sets it apart from just being a database. That's why we call them solutions or custom apps. Now, the FileMaker platform combines data structure, interface, scripting, calculations, all into a cohesive developer and user experience. Since these tools are available on a single platform, a separate database administrator, UI designer, or even a programmer are not always necessary in order to create a cohesive business solution. With the help of the tools and templates provided within FileMaker products, a single knowledge worker with a solid understanding of the FileMaker platform can create a custom app for their department or their entire organization. FileMaker solutions can often be created in days or weeks rather than in months or years like in other database platforms. And even the modifications and feature additions can be done in minutes or even just hours. This is something that is just really difficult to understand when it comes to other relational database platforms that just by design take months and months and months and sometimes years just to accomplish the same task. You can imagine that the cost goes along with that. The best part about FileMaker is because it's so easy and quick to get started, you can start small and grow your solution over time, and FileMaker has such robust features that it can grow along with your organization. And I can tell you firsthand, I've seen this happen hundreds of times with my customers. They start off with one simple idea or simple prototype, and they build it into FileMaker, and then that custom app grows and grows and grows over the years until it's a mission-critical system that costs them almost nothing to build because they can do a lot of that stuff internally. The best way to understand how FileMaker works is to take a look. For example, here on screen, you can see that I've got some information about a custom app that could be stored in a spreadsheet, but instead we're storing in a relational database. I've got information about customers and products and even invoices, and I can store them all in one place. You can see that I've got different ways to view the same information, which we call layouts, and I can customize these in almost endless ways using the tools that ship right with FileMaker. Now I can create a new record. I can even delete those records. And FileMaker allows a very easy way to retrieve records by allowing us to go into find mode and instantly searching for records that are stored inside the database. This is something that can be very difficult in other systems. Now, instead of having just one record like you see in this example file, you can have millions and millions of records. And regardless of how many of those records you have, you can still retrieve the records or search for them within seconds. FileMaker has a very unique way to index all the data so that it doesn't have to go check with every single record stored in the database table. This makes for very quick searches. And now, of course, FileMaker is a related database, which means that it can store multiple tables and reference related values. So for example, if we click over here, we've got this table for invoices. Currently, it doesn't have any data in it. And of course, a database can have hundreds of tables if you want to. In this case, we've got a table that stores customer information, one that stores products, and one that stores invoices. But in a true related database, all these can be linked together. So for example, to show how these link together, I'm going to create a new record in invoices. Now, instead of having to enter in all the customer information and address and discounts and whatnot, I can just select from one of the related records, and it automatically connects all the data from the customer record into the invoice record. And the key here is I'm not duplicating all that information. I'm just borrowing it from one of the related tables. This cuts down on the amount of storage that's required, the processing that's running, and significantly eliminates the possibility of creating errors in our data. And also, if I go back into my customers and I change some of the information, It can instantly be propagated throughout all the related order information, and therefore reflected on all the invoice layouts that are linked to that customer. But in addition to being a place where you can store your data and retrieve it and build layouts for it, FileMaker's got some pretty cool functionality. For example, you'll see if we go into customers, we've got this little button here that allows me to link to data stores. Here's what we call a web viewer. Web viewers are this incredible layout object that allows you to link FileMaker data to the web, but to display that inside FileMaker layouts. I like to use these to not only display things like maps like you see here in the bottom left-hand corner, which is giving me a visual display in Google of the addresses that I'm storing in the database, but I can link to external websites. And it's not just for websites. I can run anything inside of a FileMaker layout natively using FileMaker data that I can browse inside a browser. That includes JavaScript, CSS, all sorts of web technologies can all be integrated natively into FileMaker. And also, even though we're storing all sorts of text and breaking it down into little granular fashion here, we can also store additional information like images. So this happens to be what we call a container field, which is just storing an image. It happens to be an animated GIF. And if we want, we can delete that and insert in all types of other media, like images, sound files, or movie files. And you see in this case, I can store a movie and I can preview the movie. FileMaker leverages the QuickTime engine for us to be able to preview things like images, like you saw, even this movie, and we can even listen to sound files as well. This makes it an excellent tool for managing assets that allows you to preview those assets, retrieve those assets, and share them with hundreds of users. But the strength of FileMaker is that it provides the ability to create a custom app for business very easily, probably one of the easiest database creation environments out there. And it also works the same on Windows and Mac. So you can create one custom app and deploy it to a combination of Windows users, Mac users, web browser users, and iOS users on iPads and phones. All of these can be accessed across the same network or even throughout the world. And with the advanced security model built into FileMaker, you can create very complex privilege sets, controlling every aspect of all the data that's being stored to the granularity that you need in order to prevent some users from seeing data that they don't have access to, and more importantly, identifying who the users are and giving them a customized and tailored experience. Then you can share this information with up to a minimum of 250 users on just one single copy of FileMaker Pro. You can even publish your databases to the web to share this with tens of thousands of users, or use WebDirect to be able to have a secure connection to your FileMaker database through a web browser. You can even publish your FileMaker app to the web using PHP. FileMaker has a native PHP API, which lets you create custom web applications that link to FileMaker on the back end. So let's say you want to create a store for your data. You can have a store connected to your website, and all the order information can go directly into your FileMaker app. You can even create actual true apps that get deployed on the iTunes Store. You can use FileMaker to create those applications, wrap them in the iOS SDK for FileMaker, distribute them on MDM platforms, or distribute them as a true product, just like you would any other Xcode app. We're going to cover a lot of this in this course, but for those of you that have never worked with FileMaker before and you're thinking, okay, what is this? I wanted to show you some of the neat kind of top-level features. So you get that it's a database, but what we really got here is that FileMaker has the ability to create fully functional and powerful applications using FileMaker Pro without having to know anything about databases or computer science or anything like that. So by the time you're done with this course, I assure you that you'll be able to create FileMaker Pro custom apps, deploy them, share them with a bunch of people, build reports, and do all sorts of stuff with the data that you never thought you could before. So let's get going with learning a little bit more about how this great database application can be set up.